There are many ways in which I describe myself to myself, and I've heard many ways in which people describe me. And most of these from others, I will say, are quite positive. Most of what I think about myself is quite negative. Um, and some of these ways in which I'm described, I think, are quite accurate. And that I'm going to share a few of these. One is moody monk, because I say that because my moods change. They're unpredictable, right? So that's a very accurate description. I am a monk, and I'm moody in the sense that my moods change. They don't stay the same. So a very accurate description. Emotional yo-yo. I don't think it's just me. I think many people have been called emotional yo-yos. And that's also very true. My emotions go up and down daily, minute by minute, actually. Collection of contradictory mental factors, right? That is probably the most accurate description of what I am, right? Sometimes my mind is virtuous. I have faith, aspiration, I'm inspired. And many times my mind is non-virtuous. I'm angry or attached, jealous, arrogant, and so on. And so it's just interesting to think that when I'm clinging to one particular aspect, or when someone else is looking at one particular aspect of me and labeling me that, that's quite inaccurate, right? That is one particular moment. And so recently I've been trying to accept my own contradictions. I've seen this, and it's come up in the Exploring Monastic Life program. And it's been something I've been thinking about, that I'm just this very complex person, as all sentient beings are. And there's been greater acceptance of that, I will say recently. At first, seeing this, there was shame and embarrassment. And it's like, oh no, how could I be acting this way? Or how could I be thinking this way or feeling this way? After all, I'm a monk. And this actually came up very soon after I ordained, and someone said, oh, you're not acting like Venerable Chodron. Clearly, clearly I'm not acting like my teacher, who was much senior to me. So it's just like, of course, I have all of these contradictory mental states. Okay, so first is acceptance. Then to not identify with any particular mental state. Like I was talking about at the beginning, to say, oh, I'm hopeless and terrible because I'm angry or jealous, or, oh, I'm perfect because I did something well. Did one thing well that I'm putting my attention on, and then, oh, I'm great. This is very, not accurate at all. So to not identify with any of these contradictory states, even the positive ones. Because when I identify with some of the positive ones, then arrogance arises, pride arises, complacency arises, laziness could arise. And so I can use then thinking about some of the negative states to counteract those minds of arrogance, for example. So to think that, okay, I might be skilled in this particular activity, I might know about this, but I don't know about this and this and this and this. I might be good at this activity, but I really struggle at this and this and this and this. And then also on the other side, When I identify with the negative states, which I often do, I fall into discouragement and depression. And as we've heard again and again, and we've seen from our own experience, this is not at all helpful. And so in these moments, I need to really think about, okay, well, what are the things I do well? What are the things I excel at? What virtue am I doing every day? So it's like really figuring out, well, where am I in terms of my mood and my mental state? And then finding aspects of my experience that maybe contradict that to balance out my mind. So really looking at my experience in a more well-rounded way, balanced way, full way, in order to keep my mind more balanced. And then when I see negative mental states, I recognize bad habits, simply recognize these as bad habits, right? They're not who I am. They're not who I will always be. They're something that's changeable. And so without guilt, purify and make changes. And again, with the positive states, to embrace these, to rejoice in these, but again, without arrogance or complacency. So this has been really helpful for myself. And I was also thinking that I can apply this same sort of analysis to others. So accept that others are contradictory. They have, various mental states, various attitudes and ways of speaking and ways of acting. Sometimes they seem really happy and friendly and outgoing, and other times the opposite. And so to recognize, okay, they are also a collection of contradictory mental states and attitudes and ways of acting. They're not any one of those. And when I notice maybe, I don't know, maybe they said something harsh to me or they walked out or something, remember at that moment when they were very kind, when they were very supportive to me. And again, to balance out my perspective of others and to see that we're all here working to decrease our negative states and afflictive actions and increase our positive states and virtuous actions. And so to see that we're all sort of like works in progress, like incomplete works of art, you could say. We're kind of like the Buddha Hall, where we're still under construction, right? We're still under construction. So, chill out. Okay, that's going to be fixed later. That'll be fixed next week. That'll be fixed next month. It's mostly there, but there's still a lot of kinks to be worked out. So if we can relate to ourselves and others like that, then there's a lot more tolerance, right? Of course, there's quirks and kinks and things don't work quite right and things break. But if you look at the full picture, it's beautiful. And if you look at what we're doing here, what our lives are about now, everyone in this room, it's incredible and virtuous. And so I'm really trying to really have this much more full, big, balanced mind that can see the totality of myself and others. Because after all, contradiction in samsara is completely normal. This is what samsara is. It's a big contradiction, right? We want happiness, we do the opposite. We don't want suffering. We create the causes for suffering daily. And so, I'm here and I want to be there. I'm a sentient being. I aspire to be a holy being. And so we just do the best we can. And this understanding really brings less reactivity. And again, it's still a work in progress. But to simply recognize this is where I am in this moment, and it will change. And greater tolerance of others. This is where they are in this very moment, and they will change. And we can all just hold ourselves with so much acceptance, and also keeping in mind, yeah, that we're a work in progress until we're a Buddha.